Hey you guys, sewer pit along. Just got back, went to town. As soon as I pulled in the driveway, as soon as I come out earlier, about an hour ago, boom, there they were, coming over the house, stalking as usual, but you wouldn't believe that, would you? This is a different plane, but I think this one right here traced back to Salt Air Leasing. Had to go get a haircut. High and tight, classic American haircut. I know, it looks like a haircut a cop would get. I'm not fond of cops stealing my haircut, but, you know, this is why I always grew my hair out so I didn't have to deal with it. Let me go over so I can get a video posted today. Little Ranger. So, for a while now, when you hit the brakes on my Ranger, steering wheel just jerks like crazy, and I've had some kind of grinding in the back. So yesterday, told Mason, I said, let's get the truck jacked up and rotate the tires, because the front end being funky, when I tell you these people have mechanics on duty, they can come to your house and do God knows what to your vehicle because they studied it. Like, they want your tires to wear out, they can mess with your alignment. I went one day, had an alignment on Tuesday, and by Friday, my whole front end's been sloppy and wonky again. That's because these people are trained to destroy your things. So Mason pulled all the wheels and tires off of it, got them out, went to switch around, and by the time I went and looked, I was like, God dang, dude, the ones on the back, because I remember we just rotated them a couple months ago when I put those Krager SS wheels on. So I looked at them, I said, wow, those wheels, those tires are in worse shape than the ones on the front. I said, let's put it back the way it was. So he goes to do that. I got ready to, and we got it all jacked up again, and it's not fun using a jack in gravel. So I go to, on the back brake, to swap, or the back right wheel to change it out, and he didn't break it loose. That's a pain in the butt once you already got in the air. So I said, Mason, get in there and hit the brakes, hold the brakes, and I'll break it loose. He gets in there and hits it. No brakes at all for the rear. None. So I go and look on the inside, because if you don't know, drum brakes have shoes like this on either side, and when you push the brakes, the wheel cylinder push out on the drum on the outside. That's how drum brakes work. They weren't engaged at all. Now remember, this truck, it was near perfect, okay? And this has happened since I got it back on the road. Well, I looked around the back, and on the brake adjustment wheel, you can see where it was freshly, where there's a little gear on the back, and it's like it's got little teeth all the way around it. Well, you go in from the backside with a screwdriver and do this, and when you do that, it adjusts the brakes what it does, so it can take the pressure off the wheel cylinder, or it can make it tighter so your brakes work more. On both of my rear wheels, both of those have been completely loosened up where the brake pads weren't touching anything. So in other words, that means it was using all the front brakes. Then I looked, it looked like somebody sprayed some kind of solvent, some kind of, like an acid, almost like an acid on my front right ball joint. On my tie rod, well, not ball joint, but on the tie rod end. And what that did is that chewed. It chewed through boy, they really hit me hard, man. They're hitting me hard, I can't hardly even think straight. It chewed through the top of the tie rod end. It was supposed to keep all the grease in it, and it was, let me show you. Let me see if I can find that tie rod end. I'll show you how bad it was. So with this tie rod end, the whole front end was moving like this, completely loose. Here it is. Here it is. I don't want to get greasy, but let me show you. Look at this. That was a tie rod end. Look at the movement. That's supposed to be a solid unit. All that right there was done. Look at that. Completely sloppy. So that almost killed us. Lovely, ain't it? So $60 more at Advance Auto Parts fixing that tie rod. So they loosen the brakes up on the back, and then you have a tie rod in that being that loose. When your brakes in the front are the only ones working, so when you hit the brakes, boom, your truck can dart anywhere, therefore endangering your life. No, that isn't general maintenance, guys. This truck, let me remind you about my little truck. I want you to look right there. 70,000 original miles. Look at it. It's like brand new inside. Beautiful truck. See my little Power Ranger? It's my little Power Ranger. I wish I wouldn't have primed the fender. That really makes me mad, but This truck is a cream puff. No other suspension parts on this thing are wore out at all. When I purchased this truck, I gave $700 for it. Reverse was out. That was the only thing wrong with it, was reverse was out. The young man that bought it, he bought it from a trucker. The trucker bought it from the original owner, who was an old man who never drove it. It had 10,000 miles on it when the trucker bought it. The trucker bought it, and he put about 10,000 miles on it. Then the trucker sold it to this young man. The young man gets it, and by that time it set so long that he had to do the water pump, timing chain. He said he did the heads on it because 2.9s are bad about the heads. The casting wasn't great, so a lot of the heads, you had a lot of head gasket issues with this. He did all that stuff to it. Before I even got it, put a new radiator in it, he did all that to it. So when I found it, he wanted $1,000 for it. It ran great, but like I said, reverse was out. So I gave him $700 for it, took it home, bought a Ranger, got the transmission out of that Ranger. It was a wrong transmission. Went and bought another Ranger for like $500. Pulled the tranny out of that and still sold that Ranger for $500. So did all that. Then I did the shocks. I put new rotors on the front. I did a few other, whatever it needed. I mean, that young boy even put a new exhaust on it. So this truck is like new, mechanically. Now, when you go and you look at all the other suspension parts on this thing, all the rest of the suspension parts are perfect. This tie rod end over here, it looks like brand new. All the ball joints on it are like brand new. Nothing else is wrong with it. But you can see, it looks like they've sprayed some kind of chemical on it. I mean, it looks like grease, but it's not. But they did the same thing with my Dodge Dart. And this is what they'll do. They can spray muriatic acid and eat all this stuff out. And what it does is it hardens it first. And then it just crumbles. And then all the lubricant inside there splits out. So this right here is what it looks like when you got a bad tie rod in. So whenever you hit the brakes, because the brakes in the back aren't working, then the whole front end just jerks violently. Violently. So that was my day yesterday fixing that. So now, oh yeah, another thing. Not only did they back the brakes out, on this side, I found this. They backed the brakes off so much, there's a bar. It's about as long as my finger, a little bit longer than my finger. And on each end of the bar, it's grooved out, so it's got looks like a C on the end. There's a notch out of the middle on both sides. What that does, that sits in between both brake pads to keep them separated. So that keeps tension on the inside, so the springs don't squeeze it completely together. And then the wheel cylinder keeps tension on the outside. That way the pad, when it engages equally. So they had let off so much of the pressure on the adjuster where the brakes weren't working at all, that metal rod fell all the way down to the bottom and was grinding. Every time you drove it was grinding, and it almost ground it in half. So I had to take that rod, beat it back into shape, and then put it back in there. So just more vandalism. Everything vandalized. Everything. Went and talked to a guy that I used to work for. He used to run another mechanic shop in town. Went and talked to him, and he said that he'd be more than willing to help me on my Bronco. But I told him, listen, I got to have it done right, man. I got to have it done right. I can't afford just to throw money at it, and I do trust him. Here's the plane again, as you hear it. One over here from the same company. How do I know they're the same company? Because when you hear the same thing every day, it's just like my Harley buddies. I can tell you which one of my Harley buddies was going to show up at the house a mile before they got here because I knew the sound of their motorcycles. Same with these planes. I know the sound of these planes, and I know which planes it is. So, just more stalking, more targeting, more BS. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, I built my fence, and I bought this glue. Bought this glue from the hardware store. 3 times now. 3 times it's come loose. That top joint right there came loose. This bottom joint right here's come loose 3 times, and I've re-glued it every time. It's almost like somebody has twisted it out to get it out. But I added that support pole yesterday, that support pole, and that one. I added all that, and I guess I'm probably going to add more, but those pieces, I got 4 or 6 of the tees yesterday. It's $12 at Home Depot. And if you've seen that video, you'll know what I'm talking about. But here comes the plane over again. Imagine sitting in your house all day long and you can't be outside, or can't even really be inside for that matter, for all the planes coming over. Here it comes. See? Looking right in the backyard, right at me. Same plane every time. Just like the drones that I take for a walk. Just like the drones I take for a walk. So, with my new channel, of course, you know, I don't have the same old trolls blocked, so they're all right back again. Amazing how you can start a new channel and all the same trolls showed up. And I expected it, but the same ones who are telling you that I'm not targeting are the ones that are targeting me. I don't want to believe that. Can't believe that. That's just too obvious. Anyway, I'm going to go inside. This is going to be the hottest part of the day coming up. More than likely, today is going to be scrap day. So I'm going to load up all this metal. I would like to keep this, get some expanded metal and fix it, but the bottom's just rotted out so bad. I mean, I could probably spend about a day on that thing fixing it up, but I've got too much stuff. So more than likely, I'm going to load all this metal up. Load all this up and try to get rid of it. I mean, that probably ain't $20, but $20 is more than I got right now. And I'm still contemplating what to do with my little wash machine. I'm thinking seriously about keeping it and taking that to the lake when I go. Ain't that the coolest thing ever? Ain't that the coolest little wash machine? Anyway, God bless. I'm Stuart Pidlaw, the most targeted assassin. Pray for me, pray for my family, pray for your purpose. Always pray in Jesus' name. Never thought the fall of America would become this drastically and extreme. Have a good day.